We will talk about the useMemo hook in React.js. It is used in functional components that return a memoized value. Memoization in general is when we don't need to recompute the function with a given argument for the next time as it returns the cached result. A memoized function remembers the results of output for a given set of inputs. Whenever in React component the state and props do not change, the component does not re-render. It shows the same output. The useMemo is used to improve performance in the React app. It has two arguments. The first is the function that returns the value, and the second is the array dependency. Let us create a new file useMemo.js, and then inside that we are going to use our React snippet to create a functional component inside that. Import useState. First we are going to do the normal method and then we are going to replace it by useMemo hook. Now we will create a constant and we will have two parameters inside that. The first one will be number and the second one will be the function setNumber, and we will assign it to useState and set the initial value to 0. We are going to create another constant, that is squared number, and we are going to assign it to a function square num, and inside that we will just pass our argument number. Next we are also going to create a constant named counter and set counter. So we are done. Now we will write our onChange handler function. It accepts e as an argument and then we are going to assign it to setNumber e.targetValue, and another function we are going to assign. So we will name the function counter handler, and inside that we are just going to pass our arrow function. So we will assign it to set counter, and inside set counter we are going to increment the value of counter by 1. So we are done with that part. Now let us go ahead and write our return statement. The first one will be an h1 tag saying, let us just say this is the useMemo hook demonstration. Now we will create an input tag inside our div. We need to take an input of the number and then return the output of its square. So the input tag, we will set its type to number and we will set its placeholder to enter a number. We will set the value to number, and now we are going to use the onChange handler, the counter handler. So for that we are going to use the onChange method and we will assign it to, so onChange is set to onChange handler. Next we are going to insert a div tag where we are going to print our output of squared number so that we can get the output of whatever input we are inserting. Next what I am going to do is I am going to add a button which will increment the counter value, and I will add the onClick function and I will assign it to counter handler, and I will name my button increment counter. So increment counter, and last I am going to add another div tag which will return the number, that is we will get the output of the counter. So I will just assign it to counter. Now we are going to create a function square num. The function uses math.power to return the square of the input number. So we are going to include number and then 2. Now we will add this component in app.js. So we'll just say useMemo, and then if we see the output, you can see that everything works pretty much fine. But there is one problem here, that is the increment button affects the console.log statement even if we are not changing the input value. So for that we are going to use the useMemo hook. Here we do not require to compute the value of increment counter again and again, but this is the problem that is being created. So let us just solve that. The memo is doing two things here. One is squaring a number and the second is incrementing the counter. Whenever number or counter change, the components re-render, and we do not want that. So inside useMemo we are going to add a return statement, and now we are going to just add the squared num inside our return statement. Now we are going to pass the second argument, that is the array dependency. Inside that we are going to pass number as an argument, and now we will add const keyword in front. Okay, const, and now we will name it squared num and we will assign it to useMemo. So this is how we are going to use it here. Now if we save the file, the increment button does not affect the console.log statement. So that's it for today.